Hello, this is B4R, and in this video we are going to compare the new 390 KTM lineup with all the competitors. I've got around 36 bikes here that could be considered a competitor. Now that we know the price, let's go through and see what we see. So first, let's start with the most interesting bike, the 390 Adventure R, which unfortunately is the most expensive also. It's at 8,000 euros in my country, Greece, Europe. 8,000 euros, which is a big gap from the other bikes. We've got the X version, Adventure X, at 6,200, 1,800 euros lower. You would say, oh, this is a good price, but this does not have an adjustable front suspension. The fork is not adjustable. So, it depends how they've set it up and if it suits your style of driving, okay? If you like this. If you do want, though, an adjustable front fork, also this one has less suspension travel. So if you do want an adjustable fork for your bike, we've got the 390 Enduro, adjustable, 230 millimeters of travel, 23 centimeters. It's the same as the Adventure R, and it only costs 6,600 euros. So much cheaper than the R Adventure. And then we've got the Supermoto, the 390 R, also has 23 centimeters of adjustable suspension travel in the front, and it costs 6,700 euros. So just comparing these bikes, you come to a conclusion. If you want more of an off-road bike, maybe it'll be more value for your money to get the Enduro at 6,600. Or if you want the bike for street use mostly, maybe the Supermoto would be a better buy. What you lose is the screen, the high screen thingy here, the wind protection basically. Other than that, I don't think you lose much. The seat is a bit different. Maybe I'll compare them in some other video and see what exactly you lose. Now, to the competitors, we're gonna compare them all with the X version, which I think most people will prefer. It's the cheapest version. As I said, it's 6,200 euros in my country, and now we're gonna go through the competitors. Let's see how many horsepower this is. One second. So this is 39 Newton meters and of torque, and 33 kilowatts. I guess that's 40 something horsepower. So first bike of the competitors is the Sim NHT, a very cheaply made bike, conventional fork, and it's not upside down, and like the KTM, it's non-adjustable also. Generally an old style bike, very cheaply made, but it's cheap at 3,800 euros. It's a 300cc, 24 horsepower. Okay, next competitor. So it's half price basically. Next competitor is the Fuji 300DS or Vogue 300DS at 4,000 euros. 17 in front, 17 in the rear, not really off-road. The suspension is around 30 centimeters of travel, so much less than the 200 millimeters, 20 centimeters, and 29 horsepower. So here we've got the Zondas, the old one, the 310, T310. It's got a 19 in the front. What else does it have? Tubeless spoke wheels, if that's something you're interested in. And this is a bit stronger, 35 horsepower, and it's 4,000 euros, which is 2,000 euros cheaper. And it's a similar bike, I would say. Similar, yes. Now a more off-road capable, this is closer to the Enduro at 6,600. This is 4,300. You can find these used for 3,200 euros in Greece, and it's got 29 horsepower. Suspension travel, I think it's around 23 if I'm not wrong. If you're tall, you won't fit on this very well. You fit on all the new KTMs. Very nice design here at the tank. Let me show you. There's nothing extruding here, so tall people can fit on these bikes, unlike some of the Chinese bikes, which they don't consider tall people. So here we've got at 4,600 euros the T2 350, the newer model, and it's 40 horsepower. So the power is coming close, the engine capacity also, but the price is much cheaper. It's 1,500 euros cheaper. Let's continue. Suspension travel, of course, on the Zonda is much less. It's around 12, I think. 12. So Royal Enfield Scram. This is, I was thinking, does this fit in the category? It's a competitor. Maybe it is. For some people, I think it's got a 19 in the front. So yeah, okay, kind of. 5,000 euros, 20 horsepower. Suspension travel shouldn't be much from what I can see, and it's a conversional fork. So Himalayan, the old one, 5,300, and that's 25 horsepower. Suspension travel should be this pretty much similar. I don't know exactly, but it's a conventional fork again. This was a very popular model. You get it for around 900 euros less. Now 650 MT of 20, this is an old one, 5,300. So this is a much stronger bike. This is a very strong bike. It's a bigger capacity bike. So if you're comparing it to the X version, we see it's a 17 in the front. This is a very road-oriented bike, very heavy bike, but it's a much faster bike, more capable on the highways than the KTM. That's 900 euros more expensive. Let's continue. This is a on-off version, heavy bike again, tall bike, big bike, but with 17-inch rims, 5,400. So this is more of traveling, again similar to the previous bike, but not as strong, 46 horsepower. Again, the same type of bike. This got a 19 in the front, 17 in the rear. I'm not sure, no, this is 17. So yeah, this is a new bike from QJ Motor. The previous one was an older version. This got adjustable suspension around 15 centimeters, so less than the KTM, the X, but it's much cheaper, 700 euros cheaper. Bigger bike, it's a big bike, but much heavier, of course. I think this is around 195 kilos full, I'm not sure. 48 horsepower, and it comes with some protection parts here and rack, pinion gear rack. Next bike is the Triumph 400 speed. I guess this is a different category. 40 horsepower, but if you're thinking of one, you might think of this for more road-oriented bike. So next, we've got the Maverick. So now we get into the interesting part. So this is 400 euros cheaper. It's a heavier bike. I think this took around 200 kilos full, but it's got a bigger tank. 19 in the front, 17 in the rear. Tubeless spoke wheels. Not tubeless spoke wheels. I did it. Congratulations, before. So 19 centimeters, so around the same suspension travel, adjustable. Okay, I think this is a better bike than the KTM. Don't forget the KTM is single cylinder, it's a twin cylinder, it's a Longines Vogue engine, the copy of the Honda. So 46 horsepower. So would you buy this or the KTM? I don't know. They say single cylinders are a bit better on off-roading, but the bike here we see, where is it? It's not really made for off-roading. It's a 1719. The same as the Maverick. I don't know. I think the Maverick's a bit more capable. Let's find it. I missed it. Where is it? So, same suspension travel, adjustable. The exhaust goes up. Got some protection underneath. Do we have protection here? Yeah, we've got protection on the KTM. I don't know. If you're happy with the suspension, they're close, aren't they? Again, it's the engine, and so you should look at the engine, the maintenance, how often you have to change oil, how much it burns. I think they burn about the same. So yeah, this is a very close competitor, and it's 400 euros cheaper. So continue. The 700 MT. This is a much stronger bike, much faster bike, different category. But if you only ride on the road and you don't mind a very heavy bike, this is around 230 kilos, I think. I'm not sure, maybe 220. 67 horsepower, much stronger. Okay, let's continue. Now the Royal Enfield Himalayan. This is the one with spoke rims. They are not tubeless. There's a tube in there. 6,000 euros. I don't think it's adjustable suspension. I don't remember, but I think it's not. So what do you get here? You get the 21 in the front. This looks like 17, I'm not sure. What else do you get? It's a single cylinder. So this is very close. You only get the front wheel as better. And what's the power like? 40 horsepower. Okay, I'm gonna pause here to see the horsepower. So it's 44 horsepower for the KTM, and this is 40 horsepower. So it's a bit stronger, the KTM, a bit more expensive, 200 euros. If you don't like the style, maybe you just go and buy it for the looks. Yeah, it's more KTM, but it's still the Indian KTM style. So I don't know. You choose what you want to choose. If you ask me, I would prefer the KTM, I think. Spoiler. So then we get to the 450 MT. This price is the old price. Maybe some shops still have this price. The price gone to 6,200 now, so it would be the same with the KTM, the X390. So here we've got a bigger wheel in the front, tubeless spoke wheels, twin cylinder engine, 43 horsepower, so about the same horsepower. Adjustable suspension. I think it was 24 centimeters. I think for sure over 20 centimeters. So this is a better bike. It's a better buy if you fit on it. Tall people don't fit on this bike, but very tall people I'm talking about. And yeah, I would choose this if I fit on it over the KTM. the X. Then we've got the Woodzy. Woodzy, because here you've got bigger wheels, more off-road capable. Here is a very similar bike. The suspension travel is 15 centimeters. It's adjustable. There is a new model coming out which will be a 625, much stronger, very similar to this bike, more suspension travel, but I don't know when it's coming. Just keep that in mind. So 6,000 euros for this. I assume will be stronger. 47 horsepower. Okay, slightly stronger. Twin cylinder, so more smooth, I guess. Less vibration if the other one's got vibrations. Tubeless spoke wheels here. Much heavier than the KTM. It's around 200 something. The KTM will be 175, I think. Full, somewhere around there. Yeah, I think 200 euros cheaper. It is a choice you can make. Again, less suspension travel. As this one too here, 15 centimeters. Again, it's the same QJ SRT 550 we saw before, but it's the SX because it's got the tubeless spoke wheels, 19 in the front. Very similar with the Woodzy in terms of what you get. The engine is a different engine. It's from QJ. Cool bike. You've got some protection gear here, and I think it's a bit stronger, right? 48. Okay. Adjustable. I like this bike. I like the looks of this one. Anyway, here is the price, the current price of the 450MT. Then we go to maybe a lower price BMW 310. It's got a 19 in the front. Suspension travel I think is 17. I'm not sure, 18, something like that. Or maybe it's 15. I don't remember. What's the horsepower here? 34 horsepower. So it's less strong. I don't think the suspension is adjustable on the fork in the front. So I would prefer the KTM over this bike. Here we've got a clearly off-road bike, so you can compare this to the 6600 Enduro. 28 horsepower, the Enduro is much stronger, but this is a Honda, will last forever, I suppose, that's what they say. Suspension travel would be similar with the Enduro, but the Enduro KTM has got adjustable suspension. This one does not have adjustable suspension in the front. So let's continue. So that was the same price as the X model. There is the DSX Black Knight. The only thing different is the color, and it's almost the same price as the KTM. We talked about that price, that bike, the price. Here we've got the Benelli 502 with the 17 in the front and the rear. Tubeless spoke, not tubeless. Solid rims, alloy rims. It's a bit more expensive, it's a much bigger bike. More suitable for high speeds. When the bike is heavy, it's more stable. You can put a second passenger on more easily because the bike's stable and you won't be affected as much, if that's what you want. The power is 48 horsepower, so it's a bit low for this kind of bike, but this, as I said, is a big bike with small wheels. Then we've got the Scrambler 400X, 6400. They say the suspension travel isn't what they say on the site, so it's a bit less. I think they said around 15, and I think it's around 14. I might be wrong on that, but this guy does some tours in England and it's got some of these bikes. He said it's less, and he changed the suspension, I think, or did something to it. Anyway, this is around 40 horsepower. He also changed the rims. I think he put spoke wheels, tubeless spoke wheels or something like that. Let's continue to the Royal Enfield with the tubeless spoke wheels. You see the wheel, the spokes go outside, so a bit more convenience than the other one. If you get a puncture, you can fix it fast without taking off the wheel. You just put one of those spaghetti thingies. 6,500, 41 horsepower. So bigger wheel, heavier bike, I don't know. Depends what you want to do. Then we've got 650 Woody. This is the old BMW 650 engine. It's got an upside down fork. I think it's around 19 centimeters, 6,500 euros. This bike is not comparable to the KTM. It's a much more capable bike, if I can say that. So yeah, unless you don't want a Chinese bike that made this engine for many years for the Germans, don't consider this. Of course, it's not tubeless, as we see here. It's 1917, but not tubeless. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Check it out. I think that they're taking the price down. It used to be more expensive, and it's DS. So I don't think it's this model. They've got the wrong photo. This is what you get with that price, 6,500. The alloy rims. This is the price of the Enduro, 600, so it's available at some store. I don't know if it's available immediately. Let's continue. But I think many that want off-road bike will prefer this over the Adventure because of the price. This is the SVT 650. This is Vistrom copy, the old Vistrom, 6,600 from QJ, 75 horsepower. It's a V-twin engine. So we're getting into bikes that are a different category. This is a very heavy bike, 230 kilos I think. We've got the TRK 502 with the 19 in the front. Spoke wheels, they are not tubeless I don't think. You can check that out. Big bike, 48 horsepower. It looks like an off-road bike, but it's too heavy to be. 700S, I think it's around 230 kilos. 6,700 euros, so around the price of the Supermoto of KTM. And this is 70 horsepower, so almost twice the power. Not twice, but yeah, it's a very strong bike. So different category, but only a few cents or euros more expensive. So I wanted to put a Honda. This is the CL500, different category, 19 in the front. Well, I guess it's a similar category. It's got similar capabilities, non-adjustable suspension in the front. I don't think it's anywhere close to 20 centimeters. I guess closer to 14, I don't remember. 6,750, and you get a Honda with that CB500 engine that the Chinese have copied. Look at the tiny swing arm in the rear. It's just a pipe. Look at it. It doesn't mean anything, but yeah, look at it, how tiny it is compared to all the rest of the bike. As a design, it doesn't look good to me. If it holds up, that's another story. 48 horsepower. Twin cylinder, low consumption. This is the old 390 Adventure. I don't know if this is an offer, but it's much more expensive. It's 6,800 compared to the 390X of 25. So I guess they should sell them while they can before the new one comes. I can't say it's much uglier than the new one. Let's compare them. Where is it? I've lost it. So let's put it here. Yeah. I get more travel. This 17 isn't right, so it's adjustable though. Adjustable 17. But I remember driving the 250, I think, and it was very stiff. So I don't know about that. Foot peg. Maybe they've corrected the foot peg position. It's lower now. This one was like the Duke, so it was higher and back. And I think you get a bit more better coverage. So that will be another video. Compare them. Now let's go to the next bike, which is the 700 MT, the new one of 2025. The difference with the older 700 MTs that you get tubeless spoke wheels, and the front is 19. That's the big difference. A bit better coverage here. So yeah, okay. But it's much heavier. I think it's a heavy bike, around 230 kilos. So you're carrying it almost 60 kilos more. Anyway, this is another heavy bike. It's got the same engine as CF Moto, the 650. It looks better. I like the bike. I like the looks of it. 6,960 horsepower. This is the X version DSX of the bike I showed you before, 6,900, which is a BMW basically. Let's continue. 7,000 euros is the CLX Adventure with that same engine we've seen on the Moto Morini before, but a 700 version. And suspensions and mods. This is a very cool looking bike if you like a bike. For the looks, this one to buy. Not very practical though, nowhere to put crap on the back. Then we've got a Honda NX 500. This is the last bike I'm gonna show. There's a comparison video on my channel on what's different about these two bikes, size wise. 19 in the front. It's 1,000 euros more expensive. 48 horsepower, slightly stronger. So I would just buy the KTM instead of this. Of course, it's a twin cylinder, maybe less vibrations, and it's a Honda. Anyway, that's enough for this video. This is the price comparison of the new KTMs. It's extremely long, but there are a lot of competitors. Tell me which one you would buy of all these. Comment below. I want this bike. I think this is the best value for money, and I think it will be interesting to see your opinion if you reach this part of the video. I'm B4R. Bye.